Isn't it amazing how easily misunderstandings occur? I'll bet you can think of more than one time that somebody took something the wrong way, or you misunderstood what was being said to you. It can be really awkward or even upsetting when what came across was not what you intended. My profession is horse psychology and teaching people how to communicate with horses. And we have to use body language. Actually, it's more like sign language because your energy and expression and the way you move your hands plays a huge part in conveying the meaning. Horses don't use words to communicate. And sure, you can teach them to respond to word commands, but this is not communication. That's because communication is an interaction, an exchange. It is not just telling people or horses what to do or ordering them about. I also mentioned in a previous episode how boring or annoying it is to be with someone who does all the talking. Communication has to be a two-way street. You ask a question, wait for the answer, and then respond to that answer. If you don't listen, you're not truly communicating. In fact, modern management, especially servant leadership, prioritizes the well-being and development of their employees. Aiming to serve their needs leads to higher levels of trust, loyalty, and collaboration among team members. Servant leaders ask questions and listen to the answers. Nothing makes people feel more important than being heard. Let's look at 4 main keys to good communication. Number 1, active listening. This means being attentive and fully engaged in what the other person is saying, without interrupting or thinking about your response while they're speaking. It involves not only hearing the words, but also understanding the underlying emotions or intentions. And to do this, you have to be 100% present. A lot of people have trouble with this because they're thinking about all kinds of things while the other is talking. Even worse, texting or looking at their messages as soon as they hear the ding. To be fully present, I recommend silencing your phone or not even bringing it to the table. Good active listening also means eye contact, although that can be tricky. Some people have trouble with direct eye contact, giving it or receiving it. As the communicator, I think you have to observe the person you're talking to so you can read how they're receiving your communication. Now, that doesn't mean stare at them. It means reading them in a soft and friendly way. We have to do the same with horses because a hard look can really frighten them. Number 2, clarity and conciseness. Clearly conveying your message without ambiguity or confusion is essential. Be sure to use simple and straightforward language, avoid jargon or overly complex terms, and ensure that your message is concise yet comprehensive. I give seminars all over the world to audiences from a few to several thousand, and sometimes there are interpreters because many don't understand English. This has really helped me to learn how to speak in very clear and simple terms. Also, I prefer to converse with my audiences, not just talk at them. So I'm looking for responses too. This helps me keep tabs on the emotional temperature of the audience because sometimes we're talking about sensitive subjects concerning personal growth. And I want to make sure that I don't miscommunicate anything. Number 3, empathy and understanding. This means putting yourself in the other person's shoes and understanding their perspective, feelings, and needs. Disagreements will arise more from a break in rapport than anything else, because some people are really direct while others are shy and indirect. Imagine extroverts versus introverts. They're exact opposites. Good communication means using the same language, choice of words, and energy, or you unconsciously create distance rather than rapport. Just imagine a fiery, extroverted, enthusiastic salesperson in a room full of serious, introverted, logical people from the finance department. Introverted, quiet people need you to slow down and be softer, while extroverted, loud people need you to up your intensity. And that can be really hard for some of us because it's kind of an out-of-body experience. But in the end, people tend to like people who are more like them. The key is to learn how to connect with people who are not at all like you. There'll be more on that in part 3. Number 4, feedback and validation. Providing feedback and validation helps ensure that both parties are on the same page. It involves acknowledging and responding to the other person's message, whether through verbal cues, nodding, or paraphrasing what they've said to confirm understanding. As I said earlier, I love interacting with my students and audience members. I don't want to talk at them. So it's critical that I listen intently, seeking to understand what they are saying or receiving, verbally or energetically. Not only do these keys foster clearer and more meaningful interactions, they build stronger relationships. Now, let's look at the effects of poor communication, both in personal and professional situations. Number one, misunderstandings. When communication is clear or ambiguous, it easily leads to misunderstandings, confusion, conflict, and frustration. And guess what? It's the communicator's responsibility to make sure that they are properly understood and the message or outcome is clear. Then there's decreased productivity. In workplaces, poor communication hinders productivity. Unclear instructions, lack of feedback, and ineffective collaboration can result in wasted time and resources. My 40 years of experience as a teacher has taught me to be really clear in my instructions and messages, because you have to keep it simple. Then, damaged relationships. Communication is fundamental to building and maintaining relationships. Poor communication strains them, leading to distrust, resentment, and alienation. And we sure don't want that. And then there's increased stress. Poor communication leads to stress and anxiety. Uncertainty, confusion, and unresolved conflicts can contribute to a negative work or personal environment. And who needs that? Take care with your words and messaging. Life will be happier. Overall, poor communication can have far-reaching effects on individuals, teams, and organizations, undermining productivity, relationships, and success. It highlights the importance of developing strong communication skills and fostering a culture of clear and open communication. We have to work on that because it doesn't come naturally to most people. And ultimately, successful communication is measured by the result you get. Think about that. See you in part 2.